Hi everyone, my name is Nicole Miyuki and this is Let's Make Art, and we are adding to your beginner lettering series. So for this one, it's called Faux Calligraphy. So if you look at this, you will notice that what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you how you can start from your regular writing and end to this. So if you're wondering what faux calligraphy is, it's essentially fake calligraphy. So if you've been with us, you've noticed that I've been working through the brush pens and the brush. So with those, there's a difference where the tip of the brush looks different. What we're gonna be using is we're just gonna be using regular Crayola Super Tips. And if you have our fall box, if you don't know about it, our fall box has these in them. But what I wanted to show you is that you can create lettering at any point and create the thin and thick lines that we are going for. So what I'm gonna do is I am using my marker paper. You can use on computer paper if you can use on marker paper. But what I want to do is I'm going to show you two things. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to show you how. Am I in a okay spot, Keaton?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I am essentially just using a regular pen to draw my lettering out. If you want to try this, you can also do this. I'll show it at the same time actually. You can do this same technique with your block lettering. So don't feel like you have to have nice cursive. You can do it with any type of lettering. So that's step one. Step two, what you're gonna do to create this look is you're going to notice when your hand is moving down. So what's happening is if I were to pretend like this is a brush pen and I'm gonna think about the thin and thick strokes. So what's happening is when my hand is going up, I'm just on a different page. I don't wanna confuse you guys. So when my hand is moving up, it's going to be a thin line, and when my hand is moving down, it's a thicker line. So even though this isn't a brush pen, I can still create this same look if I were just thinking about pressure. That's another step that we can take and we're going to learn later on, but for this one, all I want to show you is that we're trying to create and mimic this same look, but we're doing it in steps. So going back, this is the first step. So what I want to do is I want to mimic this look. So in order to do that, I'm gonna notice when my hand is moving down or towards you. So when I'm moving like this. So this is a cross, so thin on the up and then thick on the down because my hand's moving towards me. So I'm going to make a mark just with my pencil. You can do this either mentally or if you want while you're training yourself, you can do it with a pencil as well. But I'm gonna draw myself an arrow to note when my thick strokes are. So then thin on the up, thick on the down. So right here, thin on the up, thick on the down, thin on the up, thick on the down. So it's okay if you have to talk to yourself while you're doing this. Thin on the up, thick on the down.
It's the lettering mantra.
Yes, which I haven't really had to say that very often.
There you have it.
But now it's gonna come back to you. And then this one is thick on the down on the first stroke. So I made those marks for myself so that I know what I want to do. So now what you can do is, if you want to do it one more time, let's say that you're doing this on your own. I forgot to mention, let me pause for a second. If you don't have our box, this will be in your box, but if you don't have our box, you can download this on the link below and you can download this for free so you can practice along with us. So I'm going to do and draw this word one more time. And then I'm going to notice, okay, so my hand was going down there, so I need to draw a thicker line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line, but have a little bit of space in between, and then connect them. So what I'm doing is I'm going to make these strokes thicker. So I'm going to draw a line right there, line right there, there. So it's okay if you notice, if Keenan can zoom in, you'll notice that on this one, I accidentally didn't have enough space in between. So it's okay if you do this and they're not all the same. Let's say on this one, I have a little bit more space. So you can dictate, this shows you how you can dictate how wide you actually want this stroke to be. Then add one right there. So that's the third step, so drawing your lines. And then the fourth step is you're gonna color those in. So all I'm gonna do is, because again, I'm trying to mimic this stroke, this thicker downstroke. So I am just coloring this in. So when you're doing this, by the end, you now have the final piece. If you're looking at this sheet, what you can see is I wanted to show you that if you noticed, I didn't tell myself what side of the letter to draw the stroke on or to make the line thicker. So actually I will just draw this. Sorry, Keenan, I'm moving all my papers.
It's all right. Do you want to move them down to the left?
Yeah.
Perfect.
So now what I want to show you is don't stress out if you're at home and you've never done this before. I can imagine you thinking to yourself, well, which side of the line do I make it thicker? So you have the option. This is going to be my thick downstroke, and I can decide, do I draw my step 3 on the inside or the outside of this letter? So you can dictate. It doesn't matter. Either one of them works. So maybe I'll do it the opposite, and this one I'll do all on the inside of my strokes, or the letters. So on the inside here, so the inside here, here, and here. So this on your guideline is what I did here. So if you can see here, you can see the difference where this is to the right, the inside. On this one, this is to the left of it, or the outside. And the cool thing about this, let me color this in so you can see, is that there is no right or wrong. So don't freak out, it's okay. I want you to just try it out and see which one might feel more natural than the other. So granted, I know I drew these at different sizes, so they look a little bit different. This might be a better representation to show you guys. So the cool thing, and I was showing Keenan this earlier, and he made a great note. What did you say? Do you remember? When I asked you why they look different.
Oh. Well, I was thinking that maybe one was from brush lettering, or one was from brush rather than calligraphy.
Yeah.
Because one was darker or thicker and thinner than the other.
And then what was the other one that you said about the shapes?
The letters were bigger.
Yeah, so he was talking about some of the things, if you've been with us, we've been talking about the shapes of letters. And so if you look at this, he noticed, he said, well, one looks bigger than the other, like you said. And if you're looking at this, this does look bigger or more circular, whereas this one looks more oval. And I literally drew it the same exact way. So the reason why this is different is that if you're looking at this, when you draw on the inside of the letters, it makes the letters skinnier. Whereas if you draw on the outside of them, they make them a little bit more wider and more circular. So it can also be a style preference that if you want to manipulate it, you can do that. But I'm telling you this, I don't want, again, like I said, I don't want you to think about it too much. I would rather you experiment and see what happens, because the last tip that I wanted to give on this is, if you're looking at this letter that I drew, let me erase. This is not an eraser. This works. Okay, so what I want to show you is, let's say you draw your word. And you notice, so if you look at this, you guys can see that the spacing in between here is a little bit wider. So this kind of looks like HE, this looks like one word, and this looks like another word. So to fix that, what I can do is maybe when I'm thinking about it and I'm adding my thick downstrokes, let's say, draw this on the outside. Let's say on this one, I'm thinking about this. If I'm thinking about the shapes, if I want, let's see, the spacing between here is pretty small. So let's say I draw this on the inside here. And on this one, because this space is so big, I'm gonna draw this on the outside so that I can fill that space and make this a wider shape. And then maybe on this one, if I were to do it on the outside, it might get a little bit close to this. So maybe I'll mix it up and do it on the inside. So I wanted to show you that in addition, you don't have to do it the same within the letter. All I'm trying to say is you do you. There is no right or wrong way. I wanted to literally show you that you can do it either way. So that still works too. So by looking at all these are all faux calligraphy. This all has thin and thick strokes, and that's all we're going for. Oh, I didn't show you. So you can do the same thing on your block lettering if you were to do this as well. In addition to this, what I also want to show you is if you don't want your thick downstrokes to be super thick and you want them to be more, let's say, thin medium, what you can do is instead of drawing myself a shape or a line with a little bit of space in between, I'm essentially just gonna overlap over my letter. So instead of doing that, which would make this H a lot thicker, I am just essentially overlapping and going over this line again. Do it a couple times. So like that. So there are two other ways, or those are two different ways that you can approach this. Okay, last thing. I created for you guys, this is another download that you can get. And I thought this would be helpful if you can see the whole ABCs. And if you're wondering and you're getting accustomed to when your downstroke should be thicker, these show, I drew little dotted lines to help you visibly see that. So if this isn't comfortable with you, don't beat yourself up. It's okay. This will help you to be able to notice that for yourself. So this is also why marker paper is really good, because you can go over it and you can trace. So for the beginning, I'd like for you to trace just to start to get comfortable with this. But again, I am just going to trace over this, and then I see my dotted line. So maybe on this one, I'm gonna decide to add space in between. And then I'm gonna fill it in. And so the one thing, as you're going through this, go through the whole alphabet, the one thing that I did want to show you and be mindful of is the circular shapes. So if I don't need to trace over this. I'm going to do an O. So with O's or any circular type of shapes, curved shapes, what I'd like you to be mindful of is the entrance and the exit of when you're doing this. So what I mean by that is, instead of, if you think about it, if you think, okay, this side of my letter I want to make thicker, what I want you to try and avoid is just drawing a line like that and then coloring it in. Versus this, I'm being mindful of the entrance of this, and then being mindful of the exit. So I'm essentially creating more of a moon type of shape and coloring that in. So if you look at that, it feels more organic. Rather, this is a style in itself, actually, that has more of those straight edges. So this is what you're going for, and this is what you're trying to avoid if you're looking for that smooth transition. Because if you think about it, if I were to draw this with thin and thick lines, it would look like that. I'm not drawing it where that was an exaggeration, but you get the point. So we're trying to create a smooth, gradual transition to get into that stroke. I realized, Keenan, can you grab me a brush pen? Yes. I'll just show also the difference with a brush. It doesn't matter what color. Thank you. Thank you. So this is a brush pen, and so I'm just going to do the same thing to show you guys with the different pressure. So that's the same thing that I created there. So the whole point of this also is to prove that these are just Crayola super tips. You can also do this if you just have a pencil. Maybe you want to experiment this and you just have a pencil. Train yourself and know that you can do this with any type of pen, marker. I love to do this when I'm doodling or taking notes. It's a fun way to just add some boldness to your letters. So this quarter, we are learning all about lettering with other types of pens. So this is a technique that we're going to be using throughout the quarter. If you're watching this and it's a different quarter, this is something that I encourage anyone to do. This is a great thing to start off. If you've never done lettering before, it's intimidating you, this brush pen is intimidating you, know that you can do it. I know you can do this, and I hope that this is a great lesson to help you dive right in. So We have a tutorial that releases every Friday that you can join along with us, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.